Today, I'm happy to welcome Devin Wilkinson. He's my guest today, and Devin's a fourth year UT student. You're a senior finance major. Just finance, or you double major? What's your
Just finance. I'm finance with a minor in economics, and then I got a concentration in integrated and business engineering. It's a program at the university.
Gotcha. No, that's a small program. I know it's an outstanding program. A handful of students get to participate in that each year, and so I think it's a great thing that you all are doing with the sort of the collaboration between business and engineering. I'm sure there's a lot of interesting conversations that you can find yourself in with that. Just real quickly, where so everybody kind of knows who you are. Where are you from, Devin?
So I'm from Johnson City, Tennessee, little small town in the northeast Tennessee, just about an hour and a half east of Knoxville.
Uh-huh. And do you endorse pals?
I do. I'm a big endorser of PALS.
Okay, well, yeah, and so maybe we can actually, do something with that. I've had pals a
Yeah,
couple of times. I really enjoyed it. I know John Fulkerson likes it.
I've not been back home without getting PALS.
Yes. And so you came straight from there to UT, I guess. And so why'd you end up at UT, and how'd you end up a finance major?
Yeah, so I actually ended up at UT mostly for the engineering program. I started out as a mechanical engineering major. Always liked learning how things work and liked math and science. It was actually the integrated program that kind of changed my mind to finance from engineering. So when I found out about that, I realized that, hey, I don't really want to be an engineer my whole life. And business seems really cool. So I interviewed for that, was able to get that, and then kind of switched kind of simultaneously to finance as my major, knowing I'd get the engineering exposure that I kind of sought in the first place through that program.
Outstanding. I mean, that's a great journey, and I think you have traveled it quite well so far. I know from many of my colleagues that you're just kind of all over the finance department, very engaged in a number of things. So there are a few things I wanted to chat with you about today. First of all, I just want to talk a little bit about the student experience, and in particular the ways a finance major can engage here at UT. So what are the types of opportunities that you see right now on the horizon?
Yeah, so there's a ton of opportunities to get engaged. We have four core finance organizations here, kind of going in order of kind of progression that people typically join them. You start out kind of in UTK. This is very like learning what the stock market is, anything about finance and trading and things like that. It's a lot of fun. And then we kind of have the Financial Management Association. This is a very general finance organization where you kind of learn what are all the different careers within finance and everything. And then we have TCMS kind of after that. This is the Honors Finance Organization at UT, which is focused on placing people into competitive fields. And then kind of a little bit separate, but still a finance organization is the Real Estate Club, which, as the name implies, is very focused on the real estate portion of finance. But those are the four core organizations that are all great organizations to be a part of, and each kind of has their own little niche area that they kind of specialize in and kind of add value at.
Right, and I know that you're engaged at some level with all of these, and I think you're an officer for at least some of them. But of all of these, when I hear your name, I really first and foremost think the TCMS, or Tennessee Capital Market Society. So that seems to have been the place where you
Yeah.
really hit your stride. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what TCMS is, what you all are about, what you're trying to do. So what is it? It's a fairly new organization, I know.
Yeah, so we've been around for about 5 years now, steadily improving, I would say. I'm the president of TCMS for this academic year. So a general overview of what TCMS really is all about. We're the Honors Finance Organization, and our main goal is really increasing placement of students in the highly competitive fields. Our core industries that we really focus on is placing people into investment banking, equity research. We do some sales and trading. That's less of a focus now. We also have a consulting piece. So anybody that's interested in management consulting, for the most part, we also have stuff that's related to that. And then we also have some kind of like law related thing. We have a lot of people that are interested in going into like M&A law. So anything that's kind of like in that ecosystem of investment banking, we kind of hit on to some degree. And then, in addition to kind of having a lot of educational things to actually get our students into these highly competitive careers, we also have like social events and things like that that really create bonding between the students that get into the TCMS. And it's really a great experience. I've really enjoyed it. I've been in it for, I guess, about a year and a half now. Yeah, that's a general.
So about how many students do y'all have right now actively involved in TCMS?
Yeah, so our membership usually fluctuates between about 20 and 30 students. So we typically take about 5 of the top students from each grade as kind of our target. It usually is not actually come out to that number. But yeah, it's usually about 20 to 30 students that we have that are active members, and we recruit every year. Our recruiting is actually kind of changing now from what it traditionally has been, which is an exciting thing that I'm personally excited for. That I can go into if you want.
Yeah. So what are y'all doing? This is recruiting season for just about anybody that's doing anything on campus right now. So what's the recruiting process for TCMS?
Yeah, so traditionally we've only recruited juniors and seniors into the organization. This was mainly because this is like kind of when you get into your finance classes, can have a better understanding of where people stand. But due to the accelerated recruiting processes of the industries we actually target, we're moving that up to really target a lot of freshmen and sophomores in the recruiting process. So freshmen and sophomores will actually go through a process to recruit for what is just now starting this year called the TCMS Academy, which is pretty much 5 to 10 weeks that people that get in will be able to go through the kind of the A to Z on finance. What are the careers? How do I actually get into the careers? And we provide a lot of support and educational material around that. So kind of a general overview of the recruiting is if you're a freshman or sophomore, you would recruit into the TCMS Academy. Sophomores recruit their fall semester. Generally would start the program in September, and then freshmen would recruit their spring semester and they would recruit like the end of their fall semester and start the beginning of their spring semester. That's kind of specific for that academy, and that's kind of like an intro into TCMS, and gets those people up to speed because none of them have had any finance classes or anything. Whereas on the other hand, if you're a junior or senior and you're interested in the organization, you would go through a separate recruiting process. That's just going to be application, interview, and then whether you get in or not. And that's going to be more streamlined, and you're not going to have to go through the kind of TCMS Academy because you're expected to have some finance courses under your belt at that time, or at least, in one now. So you'd kind of be getting that through the university. Is the idea.
Yeah, so we're in this. I mean, as I've been in this business for several years now, the trend that I've seen, especially on the investment banking side, is you've got the big banks that are wanting people right after their freshman year for internships, and our finance curriculum is in the official curriculum. You don't have a finance class till either your second semester junior year. Your second semester sophomore year, or your first semester junior year. And that's not really just a UT thing. This is sort of the way business schools work, but the industry is really going after people when they're 19 years old, and they're just they have some energy, have some skills. And so I think it's great that we're all kind of working together to try to get the most interested parties up to speed sooner, as opposed to later. One of the things also that comes to my mind about this is, in this industry in particular, networking and connection to the industry is just as important, if not more important, than understanding how to do the quantitative problems that finance entails. And so this is kind of the things that I think you're trying to gear into there. Right?
Yeah. So that's a big focus of the TCMS in general, is really that networking aspect. So not only do we have kind of the educational piece, kind of teaching the technical stuff to be able to pass an interview, it's also connecting people with industry, people that are in industry now through speakers that we have come in on a monthly basis, from careers like investment banking or equity research. But in addition to that, a lot of the educational stuff is how do you actually network into these industries? And, to kind of support that, not only go through probably the most critical thing, which is your story. That's something that, every student, whether you want to go into one of these careers or not, really should focus on nailing down and being able to really tell someone your story in a convincing way that makes sense that, okay, yeah, this is the career you want to go into. I think that was kind of the biggest lesson I learned kind of going through the recruiting process myself, was how important that actually was. And to kind of support a lot of this, we have a really strong and growing alumni network that are in these industries already. So, we have an alumni database that we keep tabs on. So that's keeping up with everybody that's in the industry, and our members get access to that, to be able to use that to kind of network with alumni, that kind of have been there before and understand kind of what the students that are younger are going through now. So that's a really helpful thing that we're very thankful we have all those alumni that are willing to
Well, I
talk.
guess, yeah. So, I mean, there's UT alumni, which is a really big group, and then we're actually getting to the place where TCMS alumni. I mean, we've got people now that are probably 3-ish years into this thing, and so we've got our first, I think, crop of TCMS grads that have kind of been through their initial rotations, and they're all starting to kind of hit their stride in their careers, and so that's a really exciting thing to be a part of. And so I mean, I think in the next 3 to 5 years, that network is just going to explode as people start moving further into their careers.
Yeah, it's an exciting time for sure.